thanks so much for joining this call today. We're going to have a super exciting discussion around freelance photography and understanding, your individual journeys as photographers, as freelancers, and Pavan specifically, now that you've built an entire ecosystem and a startup around photography itself. Would love to have you all introduce yourselves, and then we can just jump into the conversation post that.
So hi, I'm Ajay. I'm a creative director, copy of at Ralph&Das. It's a small agency in Bangalore. Apart from that, I also do a bit of freelance photography, especially sports, and also writing gigs. So I do content creation, social media, etc. I've been in advertising for the last 15, 16 years, and photography, let's say, proper paid gigs for the last 8, 9 years. Yeah.
I'll go next. My name is Pavan. I'm a video production expert. I've been in the industry for the last eight years. We've worked with a lot of brands like Swiggy, InMobi, Walmart Labs. What I love doing is LinkedIn headshots and podcast production. We specialize in these. We work with the C-level executives to produce these. And then the next set of assignments that I like doing personally is the short form ads. Okay, quick introduction about Gratif. We have built Gratif. Gratif is a marketplace for creative professionals like us, where we make on-demand photography and video production a lot easier using technology. Over to you, John.
Thanks, Paul. So, myself, John, I work as a social media analyst, and at my free time, I do my photography, videography, cinematography as well. So, I used to do short movies. So, I work on various applications like Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Illustrator, and I'm pursuing UI UX. When it comes to majorly into photography, I do a lot of events, mainly family events, a little bit of product and fashion.
Got it. Cool. Thanks everyone for the introduction. Which brings me to my first question for today. So what initially drew you all to freelance photography? And how has your journey sort of evolved since then? And were there certain pivotal decisions that pivotal, not decisions, but basically pivotal moments where then you decided that you wanted to become a photographer and you wanted to sort of do this on a freelance basis? So yeah, Ajay, I think we can start with you.
I don't know about the pivotal things, but I did something stupid when I was in advertising, which was like, okay, got I got a camera, I studied a bit of photography through classes, and I thought I was good, and I jumped into, like, I was like, okay, now it's time to get into this full time. Let me try doing that. And just like quit my job, and I thought that I'll try it out for some time. Didn't work out because like like you said, freelancers usually have an issue with, hey, where's the next gig coming from, and those kind of things. So I think I tried it without any sort of planning or any I didn't know I didn't know what I should be charging. I didn't know how to approach clients. I didn't know how to pitch, nothing. So I just jumped into it, failed miserably. Like, I may have got like one gig in 6 months, then decided, okay, savings are getting over, get back into advertising and try doing this on the side, try freelancing on the side. And since then, it's been kind of because I have a steady income from advertising that comes in, and then the whole aspect of itna charge karna hai, like, because clients come to you saying that I don't have more than this is all I can give you, and if the project is nice, I can still take it up. So that's something that I prefer it that way, I feel now, because um, having seen the whole, let me try it full time, did not work out for me. This feels more comfortable. It's become a comfort zone now because I get both writing gigs and photography gigs, even sometimes without trying. Like old clients call me up saying that, hey, we've got something new for you. And even if I don't do something like paid for a long time, it doesn't bother me because I have a steady income, A, and B, that gives me a lot of scope to shoot my cats, go for a walk, take the camera out, shoot things that, I wouldn't normally do if I was doing full-time photography. It's like I work in advertising, I'm a full-time writer. I don't want to come back home and write again. I would rather do something else. Um, yeah, but having said that, over the years now, I know what I should price myself. I know how to even ask, get it out of the client saying that this is the budget I have, this is what you have to work with. Handling negotiations are much better. Like I said, I don't need to pitch per se these days, but yeah, even there, I think thanks to moving up the ranks in advertising as well, presenting and creating those pitch presentations and stuff is a lot easier now. Yeah. Than like I think I'm talking about 10 years ago is when I tried this stint, like 2014 August, I quit a cushy job in Ogilvy saying that, okay, let me try this out. And yeah, did it for 6 months, didn't work out, went back to working full time again. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks for that, Ajay. Coming to Pavan, so I think you have sort of observed the change in the landscape for the past few years, right? And Ajay spoke about 10 years ago when he tried this out. Do you feel that more freelancers today, more photographers today are taking things on freelancing, or do you still feel that folks should have a stable income and then try this out and see whether it works out and then sort of jump into it? What's the trend that you've sort of observed?
The fact is, there are a lot of freelancers that come to the market every year. And so I come from the same background, more or less same. I've been following Ajay's footsteps, right? But I think people are not in the freelancing space. They pick up, let's talk about photographers and cinematographers. Majority of them, it's a fact that majority of them don't want to be associated with a single company or a full-time job, right? It's a creative field. Why just confine yourself to one company, right? When you can, there's a lot more. Creatives have that. I think they come with that mindset where they want to try new things, especially when it starts getting boring at one company. uh, I, so the point is, I don't think they want to be associated with a single company and stick to something that's as safe as a 10 to 5 job. I strongly believe, as a freelancer myself, I would like to work with a lot of new clients uh, every day. But having said that, one risk factor that I see here, which a lot of new freelancers are doing, which Ajay also covered a few points upon, is as a creative professional, you'll always have that urge to go the extra mile, right? Whether or not the client is paying you, you still go ahead and do it because to keep you happy, to or just hoping that it will serve as a portfolio sometime in the future, right? But you'll end up spending more time, probably resources as well. So it's, as a freelancer, I believe it's very important for you to start having agreements in place, like the MSA, legal docs. It can be for your payments, it can be for using your work. So there are projects which we have worked on long back, very cool projects, but we were not able to showcase that on our portfolio because of the legal framework that we had. So and the deliverables, especially when you're working as a freelancer, people tend to take advantage of uh, your skill, right? It can be time. Let's say we start at 9, end at 12. The shoot is supposed to end at 11 or 12, but then it goes on till 3 or 4. which means there's additional editing required. So I think new freelancers need to be very careful before they get into this. They need to have all of these agreements in place, the legal framework related to payments, using your work for portfolio deliverables and things like that.
Got it, got it. That's actually a very interesting point, right? Because most people, I think, at least in India, we don't really take contracts that seriously. Whether you're a freelancer, and it's so important. Because if a client defaults, then what do you do if you don't have a contract in place, right? So that sort of brings me to my next question, to you, John. So, like freelancing and being a photographer who's freelancing comes with its like set of challenges, right? Whether it is managing client expectations or managing time, managing the expected result, etc. So how have you come through sort of making sure that the client is happy, but at the same time not at your cost, in terms of either in terms of the pricing, or in terms of even your mental bandwidth? How did you sort of manage those issues?
Okay. So speaking of challenges, like Pavan spoke, right? When it comes to time management and extra mile what we take to satisfy the clients. At times we do lose our clients. When it comes, like, it is okay. I'll give it in a live example. What happened yesterday? Okay, so there was a contract of two clients for Monday's event. Okay, I had two events on Monday, but unfortunately, it's the same event, same kind of event, for different person. I gave the same quotation, same timings, and same deliverables as well. One client was fine with it. The other client was saying that they wanted me for the whole day for the same price, which I was not ready. And like you said, agreements and contracts are very much important. So I've never been I've been little fluctuating. I've been little flexible in those cases. So just to give the satisfaction to the clients, so I give extra time and I go extra mile. So the client I was like, no, I don't want to carry it forward. I'll take up someone else for the whole day with the lesser cost, which which wouldn't be suiting me or any photographer in that case. So losing or gaining clients does happen. So keeping contacts is important. So yeah, that's one thing I'll take it from this call from Ajay and Pavan and from you as well. So these are the challenges, major challenges that I have gone through when it comes to time management and cost.
Got it, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think time, more than like cost, time is so important, right? And conflicting clients is
Mm.
just in very sticky situation to sort of be in.
Yeah.
Um, and that sort of brings me again to my next question. So, as like your work is everything, right? At the end of the day, when you're a photographer, so maintaining like a personal brand is super important. So I think my question more is towards Pavan right now. So now that you have started out your own venture as well, how important is it, building your own personal brand, and at the same time ensuring that your work has its own brand? How do you keep this distinction? How do you start building out from day zero? And what are some of the things that you would, suggest to folks who are just starting out in this space, in terms of branding themselves?
I may not be the best person to talk about personal branding because I haven't put enough effort. I wish I did when I had just begun, but I did not. But this is what I realized. It's better late than never. See, we as creatives, we do a good job. And when I was just getting started, probably in the second or third year, we had done very advanced projects. But I just should have I should have just posted it, right? But what I did was I was not sure if it was good enough for the market. I don't know what kind of feedback I would get. or I always felt I can do a much better job. These are some of the reasons why I never went ahead. And I probably I wanted to. I think everyone, all freelancers, irrespective of where they're getting started, where they are at, they should go ahead and show the world what they've done, right, and not hide. Uh, so while I haven't really focused on personal branding on social media, I've made it a point to show up irrespective of what's happening, right? So sometimes I am not on the shoot all the time. It's probably my team or another consultant who is working on these projects, right? But as part of, I think this is how this is my kind of personal branding, maybe. I make sure I show up on all the shoots that our company is working on, and make sure things are smooth, and we it's on track. It's how the client wants, and we're making sure what we are shooting will in the end all come together and sort of envision what the client wants. So yeah, I think personal branding, John or Ajay can will be much
Right.
better
No,
position to answer.
I think I really like the point that you made is like showing up. Showing up is very important, right? Like as in, and especially in photography, your work is visual. You need to put it out there. That's. I think I made a similar kind of mistake that Pavan mentioned. It's like not showing. And I now when I look back at it, some of the work I cringe at it. Like I'm like, oh, did I do that? But I think putting it out there, and if I hadn't put it out there, and I don't think I would be where I am today. Let's say it like that, right? Because somebody sees it, somebody gives you negative, positive, whatever feedback. Some clients will like it, some clients won't. But you tend to get you like, at least in my case, I've got a couple of people calling me up thanks to my Instagram saying that, hey, listen, we like what you're doing. Can you shoot this for us, or can you do that for us? And if I hadn't put out the whatever I did put out, that wouldn't have happened to me. So I think it's very important to shoot regularly, put it out there, and hope for the best, of course. And yeah, and that's how you get better as well. These days the algorithms are against us, but still we should try. Yeah.
Right. And Ajay, also the thing is that personal branding is always sort of seen as a social media exercise. But I think Pavan really, like, you really hit the nail on the head, because personal branding is more than just like putting out a post on LinkedIn or putting out like Instagram reels, etc. Right? It's actually showing that you as a person care about your client, right? So showing up is such a big step towards personal branding, right? Like the next time the client remembers, they're going to remember that experience of you actually showing up. So I think really valuable point over there. Coming back to Ajay's point on social media. So John, you are, you've been in the social media space as well, right? What are some of the things that you would say is, say, social media important, when it comes to, literally creating that space, saying that, hey, this is me, this is my work, and yeah, like this is my experience so far.
All right. So social media plays a very major role at this point because before the news could come up, everything is on social media. So it's actually a phase of everyone now. It's just like a second phase. So everybody has a digital phone, a smartphone, iPhone. They are into it. They're into Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. They have all the space there. They have all the freedom there to put it, right. So even we have the freedom as a freelancer, as a photographer, as a creator. We do have to regularly showcase our skills, or our results, our work, so that will be showcased to others if they want, or if they are looking for something which are like like-minded. So I might be thinking out of the box, or my vision would be different, which you may not be understanding, but Pawan would be understanding it. But if he is looking for something and which I have it, so it's like minded. So he'll seek up to me, and he'll develop a business or a project with me. So in that case, we have to put our work, or we have to showcase whatever we have done. In that way, Ajay, Pawan, and myself, all three of us are lacking that way, I guess. Uh, Even I do have the page, but it's been a while that I haven't put any work. So it's high time for us to, as a creator, each one of us put in hard work, whooping our ass, to come up on the top. So it is good to, showcase whatever we have done on a regular basis. So that's how the algorithm works, and like-minded people gets connected on social media.
Right. You mentioned like-minded people, which is very, very interesting, right? Because the whole world is moving towards collaboration. The whole world is moving towards working together because, it like social media has blown up so much beyond like any individual person's reach, right? So it's so important to have your own ecosystem. Which is, I think, the next thing that I want to sort of ask, right? So how do you maintain relationships when it comes to professional relationships with, say, your crew or your say models or your clients? How do you know sort of how do you sort of form collaborations which are just beyond like the money aspect of things, but just to ensure that everyone has each other's back in that ecosystem? So is that something that the freelancer photography community is super stoked about, or is it still a little more individualistic in its nature right now?
So we're gonna work in hand, because see, as a photographer, as any content creator, or a logo creator, so we would be, when a client contracts, we will have like three corrections or four corrections maximum. As far as I've understood, it's just three corrections. So what I do is I would be a little flexible on that. I would go extra mile, go five corrections or six corrections, unless until they are satisfied. So in that way, a relationship or rapport is built. So I would be getting a recurring client. So the same client would be like satisfied. Okay, so this guy is doing four corrections until I get satisfied. In that way, but still that's time consuming, that's effort consuming. But still, it's okay to go. At least we are having the same kind of clients again and again. So as a word of mouth, they would be recommending us to others. So in that way, it's okay to go extra mile. At the same time, we have to draw the line. Um, you know, um, Not losing our integrity, and not losing our time and effort. uh, what if like putting a lot of time and there's no outcome out of it? So it's waste of time. Everything goes in vain. So it's okay to draw a line. At the same time, build a good rapport. So that's the main essence, I would say.
Ajay, you can go ahead. I saw you unmuting your mic.
No, I agree with John there. Like initially, I think what I in whether it was writing or photography, what I would do is that uh, unnecessarily burden myself with the client's expectations, right? Like ये भी चाहिए वो भी चाहिए सब चाहिए client को, and you tend to deliver कि maybe that will get me the gig again. But there are, like, now what I've realized is that setting my professional boundaries in terms of this is how much work I will do, this is how much I am going to charge, and expecting like, what do you call, managing expectations. This The brief comes in, you talk to them, you have like a brief explainer call, a brief understanding call, saying that, okay, this is what I'm getting out of it. What you're telling me is this ABC, and what I'm going to deliver is, XYZ. Are you happy with it? Are you satisfied with it? Share references or whatever it takes for him, for the client to understand what you're going to deliver. And then saying that, okay, this is how I'm looking at the project. and this is what I will add to it. If you're happy, we're going to go ahead and get confirmation at every stage that this is what I'm doing, and are you okay with it? Are you okay with it? Um, because a lot of times people are looking at taking you for a ride. I'm like, in terms of money or in terms of your time. And as a freelancer, the time spent for free on another client could have been, paid by somebody else, right? It's as simplistic as that. Like the time your time is your money. So you need to be very careful. You need to draw boundaries. And when you're talking about, like, for example, how do you work with a client? I think there needs to be some amount of empathy in it, understanding where the client is coming from. You be kind to them, saying that, okay, I get what you're doing, but if it's a little too much that they're expecting of you, you say that, hey, sorry, this is all I can do for you. If you're okay with it, let's go ahead. Because unnecessarily breaking your back is not something that I believe in, especially after being in the industry for so long. It's not worth it at the end of it.
Got
Hard
it.
way to.
Pavan, you can go next.
I think there are two parts to this question which you asked. Deepika. One is on the team that you're working with, and then on the client side. Right? When you're working with the team, my answer could be different because we believe in transparency, but at the same time, we don't look for too many people to work with, especially the models. We don't look for new models for every shoot, right? But there's a saying, the team is, or the company is as strong as the team you build, right? So irrespective, when we are working with other freelancers, we look for the long haul. Excuse me. Right. So the team that we have built mostly is around the production, where we have cinematographers, photographers, editors, and so on. So now that we have a solid understanding and we have worked with each other for a long time, we don't go around looking for new people to join us. So my answer may be incomplete for the question you've asked. So the second one is for the client, of course, transparency will help, and all the deliverables, giving them an upfront MSA will solve a lot of confusion and make sure everyone's on the same page. Right? And the last question you asked is if freelancers are still uh, individual, is I think I'm not able to rephrase that, but yeah, unfortunately that's still an issue today, because a lot of freelancers that we meet, they believe we're all on our own. Uh, it, it it doesn't have to be that way necessarily, right? When we work together as a community. So the issue with that attitude is it brings in new players, let's say people with resources to buy an expensive camera and start calling themselves a photographer or a video producer, right? But with Unity, what happens is the previous one, the issue with the previous statement which I made is people start working for exposure. And then they destroy the whole community. Let's say I'm charging 100 rupees for something. A kid or a person who has a good camera, he says, hey, I'd like to uh, get some exposure, just let's collaborate, and then he does it for free or little or no money involved at all, right? So the result of which is over a period of time, it drags the entire community, and the experts who rely on this, who are actual experts, but then they are the ones who are facing this brunt. So it's important, even if you're a freelancer, it's important that you are in the industry, and so if you're doing it as a hobby, then still, if you're doing a good job, you should charge. Don't do it for free. Doing it for free is killing the industry, right? So when all the freelancers come together as a community, it gives us a chance to revive. It gives us a chance to let's say, raise the prices, create focus buckets. It's not one person with a camera doing everything. I do everything from weddings, pre-wedding, baby portfolio, real estate portfolio, podcasts, interviews. It's automobile, pet photography. So I think you should find your calling. You'll know what you're good at. Stick to that, do a good job, and then charge instead of doing everything. And then uh, let's say if there's another professional who's good at pet photography, and let's say he's charging 100 rupees again, for example. I don't want to, I should not be getting into pet photography and charging 5 rupees or 10 rupees to do the same. And I should just stick to have laser like focus on something and probably take one or two additional services that you're good at instead of taking everything that you have access to. I think that will be a good way to, when we work as a community, again, a freelance community, we'll have a chance to go back to the good old days.
Got it. No, that makes so much sense, right? Because we see a lot of people just come in and break the entire pricing market, right? And then they're just like, we'll do it for free. And then there's just like literally a price war, which makes no sense, right? So you all are all artists at the end of the day, right? Like you all started out with this artistic lens. How do you balance out your artistic lens with client expectations when you're working on projects?
Uh, yeah, I think I started off with this line, Dipika, and I'll just, you reuse that. Uh, when you know that, set the expectations right, and I think in this case, portfolio will help. So before you get into, just to set the expectation right of what they can expect out of this project, having a portfolio that shows this is what you get is very important. The second one is you need to be in a position to articulate and educate the client of what they're going to get. For example, this is a very old. So I don't know how to explain this to you, but I'll try to do it anyway. In photography, let's take event photography, right? And there's something called conventional or traditional photography and candid photography, which a lot of clients don't understand. They come back and ask you what's the difference between traditional photography and candid photography, right? Uh, so when you're in a position to make the client understand, and that's why explain that, let's say that's why there's a difference in the pricing for traditional versus candid. I think it becomes very important for us to make the client understand the difference so that they know what they're getting into, right? So let's say the traditional part, it shoots everything. It's more of a documentary style, which where we don't disturb the client, document it as it is. Whereas in candid, you sometimes stand at a distance from what's happening, and you pay more attention to what's happening because you wait for the client to smile or get to the what they're doing, something interesting, and then you capture the moment. It's just educating the client so that they know what you're doing versus what another agency or another freelancer is offering, so that they know the price difference is there for a reason, right? So I think that's an important point, Deepika.
Got it. Ajay, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I think Pavan's pretty much summed it up. Whatever I wanted to say, I should have gone first, but yeah. I think the previous answer that I gave as well, managing expectations is extremely important. And like I told you all, like a couple of my last clients have come after they've seen my Instagram and my website, and they've liked what I did there, and that's how they've come to me. So I know that they like the kind of style that I'm putting out, and or rather the kind of style that they will get is what I'm already doing, right? Um, those are the two things that I feel worked in my favor at least, you know. So yeah, the rest is as Pavan has already said. Mm.
Got it. John, do you want to go next and do and say the same thing as Pavan and Ajay said?
No, no, that's actually true because we're all creators, right? So all like-minded people, like I said. So Pavan has already summed it up everything. To add on, um, so yeah, putting ourselves on social media platforms, are showcasing our skills and our work would give an expectation to the clients, right? So if they come onto negotiation or their expectations are just to set our expectations, it's better to sit down and talk to them and how it goes and what difference we are making from our competitors or the peer groups. So that would be convincing to them. So that's the point I would make, and rest Ajay and Pawan has always spoke.
Got it, got it. And just out of curiosity, so is there a particular niche that y'all sort of are, y'all have identified for yourselves as photographers and y'all shoot only those niches? Or, are y'all still in that discovery process? Generally, how long does that discovery process sort of take as well?
Yeah, this time first.
Like how everyone's done.
Ajay, go ahead.
You'll go first, then everybody will copy an answer otherwise.
Uh, See, for me, I think when I picked up the camera itself, I knew I wanted to get into sports for some strange reason because I I've I play football even now. I love the sport. I used to play cricket for my school and college and things like that. So that came naturally to me. And like I said, when I did that course in photography, um, even the lecturer there, when they took us out for sports, using the flash and all of that was pretty okay. But where I shined was in sports. So I was better than the rest of the students there. And even the guy who was teaching us, he's like a very good photographer and he's won the world photographer of the year and stuff like that. And he was like, why don't you try getting into sports? And I was like, dude, that's what I wanted to do anyway. That's the reason why I came here to understand the camera. But apart from that, I've realized that I take lovely images of my cats and also of people. So usually those are the like people and sports is what comes naturally to me, and that's what I get approached for anyway, most of the time, because I'm not doing anything else. I'm only looking and concentrating on that. Um, like recently, because of some, like an advice from another person that I look up to, I've started my own sports photography handle apart from my regular one where I used to dump almost everything. So he was like, "Why don't you create something specially for that and stuff like that?" So I'm doing those kind of things now, experimenting there. But niche is important, as in you need to specialize in one thing, or in our case, a couple of things at least. And like Pavan said, pave the way for others to do other things, let people who are good at pet and studio and fashion do their thing. You do what you're good at. And I would never want to compete. And even in fact, if somebody comes to me for, say, a product or, a fashion kind of a thing, I straight up tell them that, hey, listen, I don't think you should be talking to me. I can give you a couple of references, speak to them. And that's how you build your network as well, so that, someone uh, else, when they are approached, they reach out to you saying that, hey, I can't take it up. Why don't you try it out? Because that's how you also build your network community. And like at the end, you need to be nice to people so that they're nice back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you had traveled with the Indian hockey team as well, right? A few years ago when they
I did with kabaddi. I did
covered.
kabaddi and football. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I remember seeing a lot of the
It's a
shots.
real experience more than anything. Yeah.
Very interesting. Cool. So John, do you want to go next in terms of your niche and why did you pick up that particular niche?
From the college days, I was good with candidates. So any event goes, a fest goes. So I pick up my camera, and I was good with capturing the moments, emotions, the actions. So it's just not like clicking it directly, like anyone with an action. You just need the right vision to do that. So I was fine with it, I guess. So I am good with Candid. I am fine with fashion. So yeah, those are the areas I'm good with, but I do the rest of it as well.
Got it, got
So
it.
that's
And
it for me.
yeah, Pavan, yeah, so what are the niches that you sort of work with? And would love to know if you could give us like a one or two liner about Gratif as well. I think our audience would love to know more about.
Lines about, sorry,
Sorry,
one on about.
about Gratif. Yeah, so I think our audience would love to know more about what you're building as well. So yeah, your niche as a photographer and exactly what Gratif does.
So when I just so I was a part of a filmmaking club in our college. That's how I had the interest in content creation. Not the content creation, the short form ones which we see today, but more of a documentary style, longer ones. I love doing wildlife, but there's no money in that, right? So. So early on, I had the concept of Gratif in mind, Deepika. This is for a very long time. 2014 is when I graduated, and then I had Gratif in mind back then. So I did not want to connect with a single, like it sounds like I'm going against what I just said, but what I did is I wanted to see how the industry is, like small clients, big clients, small partners, big partners. So I started working on all types of, I was good at it. I had good mentors who saw that in me, and then they sort of helped me get to where I am. So I started off with small weddings, small family events to see the behavior of these clients. And then probably in one or 2 years, I started working with companies like Techstars, Game Theory, right? So uh, the whole experience helped me shape Gratif to what it is today. So personally, I like podcast production because I get to meet new people, uh, and uh, and it's interesting as well because when I was doing family events or family event related work, it becomes monotonous. At some point, it's just you're documenting someone else's lives. There's nothing interesting that you're getting out of these. Unlike LinkedIn headshots and podcasts, I've met very interesting people in senior roles. So I like doing LinkedIn headshots and podcasts. About Gratif, Gratif was started long back when so I'm an engineer, software engineer, who I quit my job and started Gratif in 2018. Uh, it's a marketplace for creative professionals, like I said. So we cater to three major segments. One is for businesses where you have let's say thousands of product sellers come online to Amazon. They need product photography. Restaurants to Swiggy, they need food photography. People like you and me, if we want to list our homes on Airbnb, Booking.com, NoBroker.com, we need real estate portfolio, right? So a part of what we do is targeted at businesses like these, which also includes LinkedIn headshots and there's more. And the second category that we cater to is for families. It's the family events, wedding, pre-wedding, baby portfolio, maternity, so on. And the last category that we cater to is it's called Start Your Own Show, where there are very talented people who start their YouTube journey, but they are restricted. They have access to just a good phone like iPhone and probably a ring light. But at some point, when they have enough subscribers, they should step away from that and look at professional video production for the channel that they've started. It can be yoga and fitness, cooking, automobile. There's more, right? Like even a podcast comes under that. So that's when they want people. These are our audience, and this is what we cater to. And at some point, when they feel they can step up to actual production, they can come to Gratif, where we have a community of freelancers who specialize in some of these categories, and they come, they take the project, and they deliver it. The way Gratif is the way it is because when I had just begun my photography journey, I was working with companies like Bark or Urban Company, right? Urban Company. Uh, I was not happy with the way they were not cut out for photography or video production. It was everything in general, and which I didn't feel was a good approach, because photography and video production is a very big community in itself. You don't have to treat it like it's part of any other generic services. People invest a lot of money, spend so much time learning these skills, right? So, a lot of businesses that I used early on in my photography journey were not helpful. They were just selling leads. So, irrespective of whether the client shows interest, you don't know if the leads that they're giving are even valid, but you would pay for them anyway. 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees to get a wedding client. But you talk to them, you send them everything you have. You explain how you can do a good job, and you are in this particular city, so you're a right match. Uh, but they just ghost on you. That's the fact. So you paid 5,000 rupees to get a lead, and now, poof, right? So at Gratif, what we do is we only charge a small platform fee. It can vary. So we have level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Level 1 and 2 is reserved for people who are new to the market, probably less than 3 years of experience, and they work at a predefined pricing and packaging, which Gratif team decides. And then we have level 3 and level 4 reserved for professionals who have rich experience, or they have a team. It's an agency or a production house. They can set their own pricing, they can set their own packages. So we're not taking that away from them. So if I am a experienced professional, I don't want to go back and work at let's say 5 or 10,000 rupees. But at the same time, there's a market for much tailored services, which only agencies and production houses or someone with an experienced or an experienced professional can cater to. We take a cut on these transactions. Let's say there's 100 rupees. 100 rupees is the transaction value. We keep probably 8 to 10%, and then the creator or our partners keep the rest. So that's how we have designed it.
Got it. Got it. This is very interesting. I think I've not really come across. Lead gen, of course, is something that all businesses do. They just pay for like a dump of, email IDs and phone numbers, and people are just like, okay. But this particular tailored services is actually a very interesting sort of idea, because you have people with intent looking for the service, and then you have people who are professionals, matching them together. Cool. This brings us to the end of our conversation. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I had a very exciting conversation with all of you all. I hope you all enjoyed this conversation as well. What I'll do is maybe in the final video, I will put your handles and links in the video itself. So if people want to reach out, I think it'll be great, for folks to directly reach out to you all. But again, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your insights. It was really exciting to speak with everyone.
Thank you. A lovely meeting you all, John and Pavan. Thank you.
Nice meeting you, Ajay.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks, Dipika.
Thanks, Pavan. Thank you, Dipika. Thanks, Ajay.
Hey folks, thank you so much for sticking to the very end of this conversation. We really hope that you found it insightful and interesting, and had fun watching it as much as we had fun shooting this entire podcast. Here are the handles of Ajay, Pavan and John if you would like to reach out to them for gigs, or even for questions that you might have around freelancing and photography. My handle, of course, is always available. available at Blursday. So this was the end of part 1 of this conversation. We do have part 2 coming up very soon with a very special guest who has spent close to 11-12 years as a freelancer and a photographer. So do stick around to watch part 2, which will be coming out very soon. And if you liked our content, please do like, share and subscribe. Please do forward it to your folks, as every little contribution sort of helps us and our channel grow. Thank you so much.